Again, the split show. Eugene and Portland. Orangutan Harris split show. I'm down in Eugene. Went to Ducks practice this morning, getting ready for Boise State to come in town. You're back home.
I am. I am back home in the cozy confines of the studio where
That's what I'm
the temperature in the studio has been reduced to 64 degrees.
It's gonna be hot today. I can't remember a time where we have had such a drastic turnaround. Like of weather where it's been like rainy and like dreary and kind of cold, and then all of a sudden, furnace back on.
Sun just breaks through. Yeah.
Oh
It's the greatness.
gosh.
I loved it this morning. So I was telling Norton when I came in this morning, I did something this morning that I haven't done in over 5 years.
What's that?
I went for a quasi run. Went for a jog this morning. So
No way.
yeah, I've been building towards this for the last couple of weeks, and I told my wife last night when we were out for a walk, and I go, hey, I'm going to get up in the morning, I'm going to stretch, I'm going to start just close to the house, and that way if something happens, it's a short trip back.
Well, I have a question.
Yeah.
What does a quasi run look like?
I can't physically actually get to a even more than 3/4 speed.
Okay.
Right. Physically incapable of doing it because I don't have the mobility in my hips or my knees to actually drive down. That's still
Okay.
what we're working with.
Were you planning on sprinting?
No, but I can't. Again, I'm not trying to get to the fastest.
Are you
speed
saying
possible.
that you can't get into a stride?
Yeah, I can't.
Normal stride?
I can't get into a full stride.
Even like a jogging stride.
I can get probably two.
I have so many questions, obviously.
It's
about
it's like 2/3 of a stride.
All right.
So,
all right. Hey, we're getting there.
Everybody knows I've had hip surgeries and knee surgeries.
It's the struff. It's the shuffle.
It's more. It's slightly more than a shuffle. I can get my shins parallel to the ground.
Hey,
the kickback.
Yeah.
So
we're golf clapping that.
Yeah.
That is such big progress from where you were when we started this show.
Oh,
And you
God.
had your hip surgery and you were bedridden for like a month.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's awesome, dude. That's that good.
So,
quasi running.
Yeah.
And now we know what quasi running is too.
And I just under a mile this morning. It was I think the watch said 0.85 or 0.86 when it was done.
There you go.
We'll see how we feel tomorrow, though.
That's more than I've run this year.
That's the test. That's the test. It's it was fun when I was out there. I was like, I can't get my on the kickback. I couldn't get my shins past parallel with the ground. It was like that. My quads are so tight. They're like, nope, we're not getting there even after stretching, buddy. So
hey, well, good.
But baby steps.
That is. So you said 5 years?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That was a lot.
That's awesome, man.
I viscerally remember the last time because my wife and I used to go for runs 3 times a week. And I remember the last time we went for a run, we were in Beaverton by the Hoop, Arctic Circle right back there. And I remember running and my right leg feeling like it was 5 inches shorter than my left. And it was such a weird feeling. It turned out my right leg was actually almost 3 inches shorter than my left leg because of all the hip damage. But it was like peg leg running, and I just couldn't. And I'm like, I can't do this. I'm like, I stopped and I looked at her and she's like, you okay? I go, it doesn't really hurt. It just feels really awkward. And I've been noticing that the last couple of weeks that it's been getting progressively worse. And I go, I'm going to run back and forth away from you and at you and tell me if it looks like I'm falling to the side. And I did. And she goes, yeah, it looks really weird. I go, okay, cool. It's not just me feeling like there's some weird imbalance. And it bothered me.
Like a chair with one leg
too
short. You're just kind of wobbling back and forth.
Yeah, and it was like, am I running in a circle kind of a deal? It was just but that was the last time I ran because it was so uncomfortable and it was very, very, very difficult to do. And that was the last time we did it. So it was just I don't know what to do with this.
We've got a lot of new names coming in for what you were doing on the Vancouver Ford text line, 503-864-6326. Danny out there doing the lineman shuffle, that from P1 Rufio.
Yeah.
That's a good way to describe it.
It was a little bit more than that. We were picking them up and putting them down.
Danny looking like a speed walker when he runs.
See, I can't do that.
Speed walker, that's too much hips.
It's too much
That's
hips.
all hips.
Yeah, it's
that's
all
all
hips.
hips.
Yeah, no, see, I can't go there. We're picking them
Yeah.
up and putting them down. If you're thinking of like a visual, think of like military formation jog.
So a
Yeah,
march?
that's relatable.
No, just like no,
that's
when
what
you
I
watch,
thought too.
no, when you watch movies, not the
Left,
march.
Left, left,
No, no,
right,
no, no,
left.
no,
Yeah.
no.
Okay.
No,
Where
it's
you're
a fast,
you're
slightly
worried.
faster cadence.
You're worried about somebody kicking you in front of you, so you don't extend very far. in either
Exactly.
direction.
Yes.
All right. Yeah.
There you go.
Another text on the Vancouver Ford text line, Dusty. It's a cute way of saying jogging, quasi running.
Quasi running. Yeah.
That is jogging. You went jogging, and then Spartan Bro coming in with Danny Boy went on a jog in his Little Giants bubble wrap this morning.
It's about right.
I can just imagine that, just like you're stretching, you're getting ready to go, and then you just wrap on the bubble wrap. Here we go.
It
We
was
need
it was interesting. I was the guy in the neighborhood that was doing a lot of the salutes.
Mm,
A lot of hand,
yeah.
a lot of head tips. Hey, how's it going? Hey, how's it going?
Yeah. Well, I hear that's what they do. Like when you drive a Jeep, right? There's the Jeep wave where they give you like a Scouts honor kind of a little salute thing.
Oh, that sounds like a cult.
They do ducks too.
It 100% sounds like a cult.
Yeah.
But if you see a person driving a Jeep, you got to give them like the hey, what's up? Is that that's the thing, right?
I'm not a
Yeah.
part of
I
Jeep
believe
culture.
the
The
Jeep
ducks,
wave
too.
is a thing. And what the ducks?
You give ducks. So like if you see someone in like a real Jeep, a Jeep Wrangler, you have a duck and you put the duck on their Jeep and then they keep the duck and they also have another duck and then they put it on your Jeep. It's a duck thing.
Yeah, no. See, I'm just used to the
Yeah, that
military
sounds like
where-
Texas A&M.
Yeah, that sounds very cult-like. I just like giving everybody the one finger salute.
Wow. See, this is why your neighbors have problems with you.
I
you
thought
know?
my neighbors love me. I'm talking about the cult that I'm in, the military. That's
Yeah.
when I see the crayon eating license plate of the Marines, I just smile and
Wow.
give them the bird.
Dang. Crayon eating license plate of the Marines.
Hmm.
And you wanted people to support the troops for the Commander in
look.
Chief trophy, and you are calling another branch crayon eaters.
I mean, they don't eat flavors; they eat colors.
I don't.
Fight me, Marines.
Okay.
You do know I'm right.
I do take issue with like the flavor grape, the flavor.
As opposed to the color purple.
No, it's the flavor purple because it doesn't taste like a grape.
No.
That's purple flavor.
Nothing is
what it
further
is.
from the description of taste than purple drinks.
Yeah,
There's
because
nothing
it's supposed to be
remotely
grape.
grape about it. Like, what
No.
the grape medicine? It's like, what? No.
No. I will say if I'm power ranking the ones furthest off, I'll say grape, then watermelon. And that, because like watermelon bubble gum,
Ooh,
It
I don't know.
doesn't taste like a
Watermelon
watermelon.
Bubblicious. This has got strong watermelon hints.
it's an elite flavor, but I don't associate it with actual watermelon though. You know, I think
Okay.
Can we agree like
Strawberry is
Lemon
the strongest
or-
correlation, or lemon.
yeah, lemon and then oranges too. They do a pretty good job with orange.
Yeah, the citrus definitely
Yeah.
comes through, and like I said, the strawberry because it's such a strong flavor, it comes through.
Yeah.
Anytime
Yeah.
it's like mixed berry, those are always kind of like,
Yeah. They made scented markers, right? You remember
Oh
those
God,
scented
yeah.
markers?
Do I
Those are
remember
great.
those? Yeah. Do I? I'm kidding
Huff
me.
and markers was fantastic, but they should have made flavored crayons.
I mean, they do. Ask the Marines.
Technically, there is a flavor to a crayon if you eat it.
Yeah, it's
wax.
wax.
It's a Vancouver
It's
Ford
just
text line.
wax.
Best color is yellow.
Best color is yellow.
See?
All right. We do have clarification. Yes, the wave is a thing. I just got a Jeep a month ago and still waiting to get a duck. I heard Jeeps also hide, like when the manufacturer, when they're built, they hide an animal on your car somewhere. Like, I don't know, it's like etched in. Does that make sense? Like an animal is etched in somewhere on your car. That could be like a frog or a lizard or a bear. And you have to like find it.
And then what?
I don't know, but the more and more I'm learning about Jeeps, the more and more I think that they're the car equivalent to the Highlights magazine in the dentist's office. You know,
Mm.
you have the Wave, you got the search for the animal somewhere on there,
Yeah, this sounds
the
all very
duck
weird. Maybe
thing.
just make a car that's not weird.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I don't want my
I
car
mean,
to be a cult.
I do like Jeeps though. I think they're cool. I think Jeeps are cool.
Every time I see one that says
They look cool.
like the upside down text, if upside down, flip over, it's always like, oh, okay, come on. You've never taken this thing off roading once in your life. Please stop. Please stop.
Well, I mean, I think that's a good reminder for any car.
Sure.
You know, if my car is ever tipped over, please
It's
come
like
help me
the
out.
guy that spends $20,000 on the suspension and never takes it off the street. It's like,
Yes.
why do you have 13 inches of travel on your suspension and you're driving on Highway 99? Like, the potholes are not that bad.
Well, I mean, you never know though. You never know. Traffic can get really bad, and you might have to off-road somewhere.
Might have to hit the shoulder.
That may be like the most intrusive thought in my brain.
Almost did it on the way here.
Is
I had a guy going
when
48 and a 55 in the fast lane, and I wanted to kill him.
oh, see, that's brutal. But when you're in traffic, just being like, I could just go around all this.
Mhm. Motorcycles
Like
do.
that.
And
That is an intrusive thought in my brain that happens daily.
I've seen people do it.
Daily.
I've seen people do it. Just say,
Oh, yeah.
just screw it.
Yeah.
It's like, I get mad at him for a second, then I'm like, I could do that too. I could do it. I could do it. Then I don't.
You would do it. You would do
I've
it
never
too.
done it. Like I know this sounds so contrary to who I am, but I am a, like, for the most part, color within the lines guy.
A rule follower.
I am a rule follower for the most
You
part.
just don't like the rules that you follow.
Sometimes they just, yeah, and like he's like, oh, the speed limit. I'm like, I don't drive that fast everywhere. Like, that's not. I don't drive crazy. I don't bob in and out of traffic. I don't change lanes 18 different times. I usually just sit in the fast lane and do 8 to 9 over everywhere.
Yeah.
But I see people doing the most. Like this morning, the guy doing 48 and a 55 in the fast lane. I wanted to murder him. Like, if you're thinking, did he say out loud, I really wish I could pit maneuver this guy? Yes, I did.
Mm.
In my car, God, I want to pit maneuver this guy so bad as I'm
Just
driving.
don't drive slow in the fast lane.
It's
It's a
just
public service
it's
announcement
such a
for
jerk
everybody out
thing
there.
to do.
Yeah, it really is. It's not fun, and nobody likes being behind you in that situation. So we just need to stop that. All right, we've got a sports show today, or we can just talk traffic. I mean, that's okay. Because
It's about
I do
that time because school's back. So
actually, there is one other thing about that.
Mm.
Have you ever been behind the guy who does like the wild thing? Like this texter says that's called a Texas off ramp.
Oh yeah.
When you just kind of go off right. And when you see somebody like go around traffic and then you end up seeing them like when you get off of the road, you're like, hey, I remember that car. And they immediately in my mind, the first thing is, oh, that person has to poop. Right? Like that person's got to use the restroom.
There's something there.
They've got an emergency situation. They got to go to the bathroom. Then it's like maybe they're going to the hospital. I don't know.
Look, and if you're talking like actual life or death situations, hospital and or pooping,
Yeah.
I would do anything.
There have been 2 times where I've had a car, just like weaving, driving erratically, going on the shoulder, just going around people, just being a jerk. There have been 2 times that I have seen them it was not an emergency situation by any means. One time I saw them in a Taco Bell drive-thru when I got off the off-ramp.
Oh,
They
wow.
just apparently wanted
They wanted a double-decker taco.
They wanted to live Moss so hard,
So hard.
that they had to put other people's lives at risk.
Mm.
The other time was I saw this dude. He was just in the grocery store, and he looked about exactly the way I thought he would. He was wearing like a tracksuit, full-on tracksuit. He had his sunglasses on the back of his head, and he was just that like he
Just a
just
giant
went to the
D-bag.
Safeway. Yeah, and he was just like in the Safeway. I was like, man, you were just driving like a complete a-hole just so you could come to the grocery store? No.
That sounds about right.
No, that makes me very upset when I realize, and it's only happened to me twice, that the people doing that is just for nothing more than they just thought their time meant more than everybody else's, right? Like, nobody wants to be in traffic, but that doesn't mean you just drive like a jerk. Come on, people. Come on, a little decorum. There are rules here. There are rules. All right, sports show today. We went college heavy yesterday, and boy, did we have a lot of college to college about
So much
yesterday.
college.
It was awesome.
It's a pivot now, though.
Yeah, because the NFL season is one sleep away, and we got a lot of news out of the National Football League. A couple Week 1 injuries. We have guys returning to practice amidst holdouts, and we've got a little bit of college that we need to touch on, too, because we have a rivalry that is so back based on the quotes.
Love
but where
to
we
see it.
start is in the NFL. He's back, and it opens a window for one team. Danny and Dusty on the Fan.
The definitive podcast for Oregon Ducks football fans is here.
Hey, so we got Will Ortner following the rules, playing the tunes. Wrestling Wednesday. I absolutely love Wrestling Wednesdays every single time it happens. Jamar Chase back at practice for the Cincinnati Bengals today. That's good news. That's good news.
I would say it's getting your second most important player back. It's probably a good thing.
I mean, if you were talking about, and we've had several discussions about this over the course of this offseason, right? The value of a receiver and how much guys are getting paid. And you and I both agree that a percentage of the cap, there's a threshold for a receiver and his value
Indeed.
to your team, right? But I think that you have certain circumstances in single one-off years where if you're not paying your quarterback, it's okay to pay that guy for this year and have a big cap number for a year if you don't pay a quarterback. But I think that if you're looking at a team in the actual true value of a receiver, I really think there's only two guys in the NFL that truly make a noticeable impact on a game and could determine game outcomes. Jamar Chase is one of them in his importance to Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals in their offense. When it comes to playing elite teams and beating elite teams, Jamar Chase is one and Justin Jefferson is the other. I think outside of those two guys, there isn't a team that or a singular wide receiver that has that kind of impact. Your guy like Devontae Adams with the Raiders, he's really damn close to being like one of those guys.
I think it would make more sense with a quarterback who was worth a damn.
A competent quarterback, yes. But in kind of like your aspirations for winning this season, but I think both Minnesota and Cincinnati have that. Jamar Chase being on the field is of the utmost importance for Cincinnati. Zach Taylor, the head coach of the Bengals, was asked today after practice and Chase being back out on the field how they felt about his readiness for week one. And he said, we'll see. We're not there yet. That is the most terrifying thing about Jamar Chase and his holdout. It's the most terrifying thing if you're a fan of the San Francisco 49ers and Brandon Ayuk's holdout, or CeeDee Lamb with the Dallas Cowboys and his holdout. The fact that those guys, the ramp up that they will need, hamstrings, soft tissue, I've been banging this drum for over a month now, they must ramp up, and you have to take it slow. I think the one thing that the Bengals can benefit from, though, they got the Patriots week one.
Yeah, that's the thing.
You could win that game without Jamar Chase.
You can, but can you get up to speed fast enough to go to Kansas City in week 2?
Now,
and that's
the
the question, because their schedule is set up really well for them, with the exception of the Chiefs, because they have the Patriots, Chiefs, Commanders, Panthers in their first 4 games.
Commanders going to be
They're
tough little out.
Sure, and I'm with you there. Like, that's my dark horse to win the NFC East. But if you're talking about a team from the AFC North, who, again, you play in the most difficult division in football, your offense is going to be predicated on Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow because, well, you don't have guys there anymore in the backfield.
You got T. Higgins.
Look, I love T. I think he's great. But
Yep.
who's in the backfield? Zach Moss is not Joe Mixon.
Yeah.
That's
Boy.
That's a big difference. You can't lean on him like you. Well, maybe you can. Maybe you can lean on Zach Moss, but you don't know you can. Joe Mixon, you know you could. He could win you games. And so
he was electric out of the backfield too, as a receiving threat.
Exactly. And that's the thing. It's like I look at that and I go, yeah, you can get by the Patriots. They're terrible. They may not win a game this year. They may be a one win, 2-win team.
There, thank you. They'll peel one off.
But you know what I mean.
Miami will probably come up late in the year and not need a win and suck in the cold. Yeah.
But Chase, Higgins, Gesicki, like that. Even if you don't have Jamar out there, Higgins, Gesicki, like that's enough to get you by the Patriots. Is it enough to get you a win against the Chiefs? Does it matter in the grand scheme if you don't beat the Chiefs in week 2 because what you are in week 2 is not who you are in week 18? There's a lot of different ways you can look at that. But the decision the Bengals made 3 years ago, to go with Jamar Chase over Penei Sewell means the ramifications down the roster are different in that I don't think they made the wrong or the right choice. I think both were the right choices for whether it's Detroit or Cincinnati in those
Man,
those
you made it.
situations.
You made it to a Super Bowl.
Yes, and with those choices, you've set yourself up for. Yes, if it was let's reverse the situation. If it was Penei Sewell holding out and he was on the Bengals, would that be a problem? Yeah, but if you had a great wide receiver, you can kind of overcome that a little bit. Now, can T. Higgins elevate up? Can Jermaine Burton elevate up? Can Andre Iosivas move up? Like it's like that's a little bit different.
The pride of Stanford, Trent Irwin, isn't he on that team?
Oh, he did make the
Isn't
cut.
he-
Yeah, I
he
think he's wide receiver 6.
Hell yeah.
But again, you're asking guys to step up, and we're talking about a world where wide receiver development is better than it's ever been. So I guess you're going to be more comfortable with that. But is a week enough to get Jamar Chase up to speed? And I just don't think
I don't
it is.
think so. And this will be the multi-million-dollar question for Cincinnati, though, as they enter Week 1. Wouldn't expect to see Jamar Chase, but how close is he? How ready is he? And now to his credit, he has been doing a hold in where he has been around the facilities. He has just not been practicing. So they've actually got the ability to have a closer eye on him and actually what he's doing day to day as far as his workouts have been concerned. But you still don't want to just throw a guy out there and be like, hey, go be twitchy, because that's the worst thing that can happen is he pulls a hamstring and then all of a sudden, quite literally, your entire season gets derailed if he pulls his hamstring, because that's a lingering injury that will last for a while.
And he's so important to what they do.
Yep.
That
Man.
if you make that, and again, that's what makes the margins for error for the Bengals. I still really like this team. Like, this is a team that if I'm picking somebody in the AFC other than the Chiefs, I believe so much in Burrow and Chase that it's like, it's hard for me to really pick against them if they're healthy, but because of the margins for error are so thin, I go, how close can you play this to the vest with Chase and getting him ready in time, managing whether or not it's worth it to have him play against the Chiefs?
You know what we don't talk about enough? Like when you were mentioning that decision, right?
Mhm.
Penei Sewell or Jamar Chase. That was like the pivot point decision of the draft. Both of those teams can claim home runs, wins.
Absolutely.
Cincinnati, you go to a Super Bowl. Detroit, you now have a tackle for a lifetime, and you are in a Super Bowl window. We do not talk enough about how good that draft was because of how bad Zach Wilson and Trey Lance were. Those were the number 2 and 3 picks. Let me read you the rest of the top 10 from that 2021 draft. Number 1 overall, Trevor Lawrence. Number 4, Kyle Pitts. Number 5, Jamar Chase. Number 6, Jalen Waddle. 7th, Penei Sewell. 8th, J.C. Horn. 9th, Patrick Surtain, just got paid today. 10th, Devontae Smith. And then 11th, it's the quarterbacks that bring it down. 11th, Micah Parsons. 12th, Rashawn Slater. That is an if you take the quarterbacks out of it, that is an incredible draft.
It's decent. It's decent.
I mean, holy smokes. Like the hits were home runs and the whiffs were absolutely astronomical. Think about that. Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, Justin Fields. Also, you have Kadarius Toney being a first-round pick in that draft.
Oof.
Is Alex Leatherwood still on the Raiders?
No, God, no.
Alex Leatherwood was the 17th overall pick.
That was the
draft.
being smart, trying to be smarter than everybody in the room pick.
I mean,
I hated that pick so much.
Those talk about a boom or bust draft. I don't think in recent memory, we have a draft that is that black and white. Whether you just knocked it out of the park or, boy, you fell flat on your face.
What's interesting is the back half of that first round was not nearly as good.
No, it wasn't good at all.
It just, like, honestly, when you get to the Raiders, it kind of falls off a cliff.
Yeah. Well, you can go to Zaven Collins in Arizona, too. I think you can say at 16.
Yeah.
At six.
Yeah,
At pick 16.
15. Mac Jones.
Oh yeah, Matt. Whoa, God. Yep. How could
But
we
yeah,
forget
the
Mac
first
Jones in New
14
England?
picks, though, that's pretty damn good outside of Wilson and Lance.
Outside of fields.
Oh,
Outside
that's
of
right. Yeah, yeah,
quarterbacks, pretty good.
yeah.
Really
Position
good.
players, I mean,
Wow.
multiple Pro Bowlers. You've got a likely Hall of Famer in Parsons, a likely Hall of Famer probably in Surtain, a likely Hall of Famer in Penei Sewell.
That's pretty dang
That's
good.
pretty dang good.
Yeah.
You know what that reminds me of is the 2000 is it 2008? No, there was a draft where there was a period where the Raiders, for I don't want to say 3 straight years, 2 players after the Raiders picked were Hall of Famers, and it was just like, ugh. Was it? Because
It's okay.
It's 07 with Jamarcus was.
We can definitely say that it was not the case this year.
Yeah, no, because Jamarcus, they had both players that were picked after Jamarcus were Calvin Johnson and Joe Thomas.
Yeah. 2021, Jalen Phillips went right after Alex Leatherwood. So unless he turns it around,
Yeah, thank God.
I think you're safe now.
Thank God.
I think you're safe now. All right, 503-864-6326. That is the Vancouver Ford text line. Let's stay in the NFL because there's some interesting texts that are coming in on the Vancouver Ford text line. The missing weapons in some places.
Mm-hmm.
You sparked this with Joe Mixon. The AFC North has got some weapons issues for sure.
Indeed.
Danny Dusty on the Fan. Here's Will with SportsCenter. 10. Departure in Cincinnati.
Oh, I'll spark it up.
And what that means, because we had a texter, Vancouver Ford text line 503-864-6326. Joe Mixon and Nick Chubb might prove to be the largest missing weapons in all of football. Look, that may be what determines the AFC North, which is going to be a gauntlet. I think that if out of the preseason, if you look at it and you say, all right, who has the clear disadvantage in that division? It's Pittsburgh out of the gate, just because of their quarterback situation and being the worst quarterback play in that division. But when you think of the war of attrition that football is and injuries happening, and especially in that division where there's so much physicality, how does Pittsburgh always find a way and end up being relevant? Well, it's because they can either stay healthy or a rash of injuries somewhere else. And with Nick Chubb being out, they're looking at Jerome Ford and Pierre Strong and Dante Foreman are their 3 running backs this year. Not the greatest situation to be in the run game. You look at Cincinnati and what you just outlined, right? With Joe Mixon being out, how long does the ramp up for Jamar Chase? Their weapons still seem to be pretty dang good, and they bolstered their offensive line. They've got a really good offensive line, because I think one of the sneaky additions that they made was Trent Brown, who left New England and is now in Cincinnati. Trent Brown at your right tackle, Orlando Brown as your left tackle. You drafted Austin Mims out of Georgia in the first round, and he's a backup for you.
And that dude is so big.
Ted Karras is your center with Kappa at your right guard still. Like, they are protecting Joe Burrow finally. But the weapons are going to be really interesting, because weapons might prove to be the separator. Because what has been the last handful of years the Achilles heel for the Baltimore Ravens?
The inability to push the ball down the field because they haven't had anybody.
Well, that and your running backs, when you don't
Just
have receivers,
your running backs
get
their legs are falling off.
Hurt, whether it's Gus Edwards or J.K. Dobbins. Mark Andrews got hurt last year, and he's finally back. Like, if you look at Baltimore on the surface, Zay Flowers and being that guy who can be that vertical threat, right? You have Derrick Henry in your backfield, who has just been a battering ram and a beacon of health over his entire career. And now you have Mark Andrews healthy, Nelson Aguilar to stretch a team vertically and then drop a deep ball, but you have to respect his speed. Like, you sit there and you go, Baltimore's set up pretty damn well right now for Lamar Jackson and company, but where will injuries lead them at some point this season? Your weapons and the injuries in the AFC North are going to play a massive, massive role.
And that's the thing is, you take a look at we'll talk about some Super Bowl contenders later on in the show. And I think this is going to factor into this a ton. You take a look at around the NFL, and the first contenders that pop to mind are the likely subjects, right? It's the Chiefs, it's the 49ers, it's the Bengals, it's the Lions, it's the Texans, it's the Bills. But what's interesting is, with the exception of probably the 49ers, who do have all the weapons, but maybe
all the weapons.
As good as Purdy is, he's not Joe Burrow, Pat Mahomes, Josh Allen. That's the trade-off, right? Some of these teams are missing pretty significant chunks of what kind of makes them who they are. When I say the Buffalo Bills, you think Josh Allen, then who?
I think of Josh Allen, and then immediately after him,
Dalton Kincaid?
Yeah, your tight end. Nah, Keon Coleman. Look, they've got, and I think Shakir's going to be good, right?
But it's such a stark
it's
difference.
It's not Stephon Diggs. It's
No.
not like you're like, Stephon Diggs, boom, right there.
Gabe Davis being your third guy. It's a very, there's like one weapon has been snatched from so many teams. Like, everybody says Nick Chubb's going to come back for the Browns, and it's like, cool, that's awesome. I'm rooting for the guy. But I watched the guy's leg turn backwards. You're telling me he's going to be the same?
Yeah.
I just it's hard for me to believe that until I see him go out there and do it for 3-4 weeks, that he's going to be the same guy that he was. And he was a hell of a running back. I mean, we're already starting to see, Saquon starting to slow down. Those guys, when they just start getting dinged up at that position, it's tough. And you look at the Bengals, they're going to be without Chase, I would imagine, for the first 2 weeks at minimum, right? So that sets you back a little bit with the Bengals.
I think you're just gonna. I think you're gonna see him out this week. I bet he's in by. I bet he's in by Kansas City.
A
I
limit
bet he is.
in limited 60% capacity. He's
Maybe.
not out.
Yeah.
He's not out there running his usual 50
I mean,
snaps.
they're gonna check and take inventory on it, but I bet we see him. I bet we see him. Yeah, 60% majority of the snaps offensively he'll play for, but a ramp up of sorts. Yeah.
But my point being, like, you look around the NFL at all these contenders, and there's just been like this little removal of a weapon or two, or there's been some slight tweak or some slight change, which is interesting because the Kansas City Chiefs are going for something no team in NFL history has done, which is the three-peat, and they're gonna do it with a receiver core of who,
Well, and that could be their big downfall.
Mhm.
I mean, eventually that will be a down. I mean, I'm not counting the Kansas City Chiefs out, but they've been flirting with this, and Rashee Rice suspended.
Yeah.
You have Hollywood Brown, Xavier Worthy,
and Hollywood Brown's
Travis
already been
Kelce,
ruled out because
Juju,
he's injured.
Juju Smith-Schuster,
Mhm.
and Sky Moore.
I
But
mean,
you got Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, and then Isaiah Pacheco out of that backfield. Like, that's one of the things that it
Okay.
does not get discussed nearly enough about Kansas City, is that injury luck matters so much in a
Mhm.
Super Bowl run. I mean, and it truly is. It's injury luck. And they have been riding high with getting guys back at the right time. Like last year, we thought, hey, this is going to be it. You don't have Joe Tooney in your lineup, right? Get him back right when it
Mhm.
mattered the most, right? They have been wildly lucky with injury. And then, oh, by the way, having the best quarterback in the NFL definitely helps.
and that's the thing that patches over all of this is that
Yep.
quarterback play. But you are seeing even among the best teams that there has been a subtraction. With the exception of probably the 49ers, only because they have a quarterback who's making less than $1 million.
That's right. And they're going to have to pay the piper at some point, but this is why they want to keep that window open for 2 years if they can, right? This is the exact reason why, is because they know they won't be able to do it after 2 years down the road. You have to keep this thing open for 2 years. And that's why when Brandon Ayuk opened his mouth yesterday, he said the quiet part out loud. We'll get to that next. Danny and Dusty on the Fan.
Hello, sports fans, and welcome to
from Orange O Guy, who is our wrestling insider. Play Undertaker, Will. Guess what he got? He got it on cue. Next bump back, Undertaker. I loved The Undertaker so much.
Who didn't?
Paul Bearer is one of the, I think I've said this before, Paul Bearer is one of the very first people that truly gave me the creeps. Like as a kid, like where I remember just feeling like, oh, like, yeah, he gave me the creeps, something fierce. Paul Bearer.
And that's not
never.
That's not Paul Bear, as in B-E-A-R.
No, he's Paul Bearer. Yeah. Who apparently was a nice guy.
I mean, it's like the same thing with Undertaker and Stone Cold. They're actually genuinely like nice dudes.
Yeah, but Piper used to always play it up no matter where he
Oh.
was. He would be like, if I'm gonna be the heel, I got to be the heel.
Yeah, you
I
have
got
to
be the heel to
You got to
everybody.
lean in.
Yeah, we got to make sure it's not a gimmick for the kids out there. I got to be mean to these children, which would be a nice little life hack to have. Right? Gives you an excuse just to be mean to kids. You know, you don't have to be nice to them at all.
Which is great.
It is great. Brandon Ayuk back at practice for the San Francisco 49ers. We're talking about the soft tissue injuries, how it could be a concern for Jamar Chase or CeeDee Lamb. Brandon Ayuk, obviously, with a long holdout in San Francisco, he is one of like the guys at the center of, all right, can he stay healthy now that the holdout is over? All these guys say like, hey, I've been staying in shape, I've been working out.
It's a different kind of shape.
It really is, because there is something real about the fear of somebody else hitting you with all their force that it makes you run a little bit different, right? Right? And even in practice where you could be going thud tempo, that fear of contact I guess fear may not be a good word for it, but you have that adrenal rush of somebody's going to hit me and try to hurt me. Yeah, that makes a difference in how explosive you are.
Not even that. When that contract's not signed, you're not lifting the most. You're not running the hardest. You're not doing like, heaven forbid you go out there while you're working out and tear something. So there's just, that's a reality. We see it happen. Didn't Slater tear his pec working out last year?
Rashawn Slater?
Yeah, I thought his was a workout one.
I thought, yeah, maybe, or maybe it was like his first practice back. Was that?
It was something along
right?
those lines, but it was like,
Yeah.
you just don't know. And that's the thing is like, until the ink's dry on the contract, yeah, you're keeping yourself in shape. And did you catch Baker Mayfield talking about, oh God, it might have been the PMT guys. I can't remember who it was, but it might have actually just been a random podcast that I heard him on. But he was talking about his time transferring from Tech to Oklahoma. And because this is pre-NIL and he Texas Tech was barring his transfer to Oklahoma. And he just went to the Oklahoma campus and was playing rec sports. He goes, I was in rec shape. And I was on campus for almost 2 months. I have not talked to Coach Stoops. I have not talked to anybody in the football program. Like, I am trying to do this so the NCAA doesn't nail me. And he eventually gets it done, and he goes over to the football complex and introduces himself to Coach Stoops, and Coach Stoops says, oh, so you are on campus. Like, there was this whole thing of like, is he actually here? Kind of like he avoided them like the plague. But he goes, and then I had to go get ready the next day. Like,
Yep.
He asked if I was in shape. I go, yeah, I'm in rec shape. He goes, and we're playing in like 2 weeks.
Oh,
So
my
like I
goodness.
had to ramp up, and it was like, it sucked. Because just like the difference in how they're going about it, like, yeah, you can be an athlete and you can be in shape, but in shape, in pads, freewheeling, no head, like, because when you're playing for the contract, you can't. There's that hesitation in the back of your head, and this isn't just in the NFL; it's across sports. When you're looking at that contract in front of you and it's not signed yet, that fear is just there, front and center. No matter what anybody tells you, you put them up to truth serum. All of them will tell you if I'm in a contract period and it's not signed, there is that fear because it can disappear like that.
Yeah, but at the same token, you hope that a guy who is wanting all this money is sitting there and taking it seriously, right? In that preparation and that workout, because you do have a lot that you're playing for moving forward. And I think the interesting part about what Brandon Ayuk, in that whole saga, we were talking about kind of as everybody was in the dark, who was at fault? Who was at fault? Who is responsible for all of this happening? And I was leaning more and more towards Brandon Ayuk as time wore on, and as that thing got deeper and deeper, and we started to learn a little bit more of that steady trickle of information that was coming out. Of he was given the opportunity to go and look everywhere. He was given, a contract that the Niners said this is the most that we could possibly offer you, and then Brandon Ayuk yesterday after his first day at practice said this.
I think I'm not gonna lie. I made it a little bit more difficult than it needed to at the end. But yeah, it was. I mean, it was like that I'm not gonna say the whole entire time, but for about the past month, I think we were pretty good.
Think about that.
Much ado about nothing.
I made it more difficult than I needed to in the end. And like all of the posturing, and this is kind of like everything that we went through. Remember, it was about a little over a month ago, right? Right when training camp started. It was the Christian McCaffrey interview where he called him a former teammate.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Like that's
Which
when
is
it
targeted
was like
and specific.
at the peak of the ugliness between the Niners and Brandon Ayuk. And then he said, for about the past month, we've been good, which was the code for he was still trying to pry out any money he could, but he knew exactly what the contract offer was going to be from San Francisco. And I still don't understand what his goal was in his handling of it, because, I mean, he says it, I made it more difficult than it needed to be. What was he angling for?
He doesn't know what he wants. This is what I mean when you talk about the wide receiver. Oh God, what is it? The wide receiver tweet, right? The typical quarterback tweet, which is something along the lines of "Love my teammates, God is good." The running back tweet, which is "Keep grinding." Tight end tweet, derp. Wide receiver tweet, "The enemy speaks kindly and holds a knife."
Yep.
Like that's
that
wide
was
receiver
him.
brain. That's what I mean. Like it's like a freaking brainworm, man. And it just gets in that position. I don't understand why it's so inherent in that position group. I would love to see like an actual psychological scientific study on the brain of wide receivers and why it is so fundamentally different from other position groups.
It's the elite ones. Like
Yeah.
the truly elite ones are the ones that have that. And it's not all of them. The outliers are guys like Larry Fitzgerald, right? Who you don't hear anything from.
No.
But you have the guys like Stephon Diggs and Brandon Ayuk and heck, Michael Irvin when he was playing, right? And these guys kind of stick out over history. It's weird. I'm watching that show Receivers when they were following, Justin Jefferson and Devontae Adams. You didn't get that feeling out of either one of those guys, though. Justin Jefferson has a grill and he does the gritty and comes up with end zone dances. But you didn't get that feeling watching that show that he was cut from the same cloth as Brandon Ayuk as far as whatever it was. What did you say the receiver tweet is? The enemy sleeps in darkness.
No, the
whatever.
Oh God,
The enemy speaks softly and carries a large knife.
yes.
Yeah, yeah. Like you didn't get that feeling from Justin Jefferson in that, but boy, that tweet. If there's anything that sums up Brandon Ayuk, that's it right there. Because he even had remember his emoji Instagram post of it was just money talks, BS walks. It was like, dude, you took the offer that they gave you at the beginning of training camp. What are you talking about?
I'm sure he can justify that and move that around however he needs to.
Oh, goodness gracious.
It's like, whatever.
Brandon Ayuk, way to go, man. You proved all of our points, and you did it in dramatic fashion on your first day back. Hey, also of note from the 49ers, the teen that shot Ricky Pearsall
Yeah,
in San
charged with
Francisco.
attempted murder.
Yeah, I would say that
Love to
qualifies as
see it.
attempted murder.
Love to see it.
Shooting a guy in the chest, I think that would definitely qualify as attempted murder. And so a 17-year-old who shot Pearsall in an attempted robbery, now charged with attempted murder. So, police.
Good.
Yeah. All right, hour number 2. This rivalry is so back, and I cannot wait to see it on Saturday. Danny Dusty on the Fan.
By texting 64.
football. Tomorrow we get the
Oh.
NFL regular season underway. Let's go. And then we have college football starting up this weekend again.
We have
And
Friday footballs on the NFL as well.
We do? Is that the Brazil game?
Yeah, well, let's talk about that.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. We got a rivalry game though this weekend. A
Oh.
rivalry that really has not been of note or consequence for anybody that's out there as of late because neither one of them have been really good. But Nebraska and Colorado used to be an all-timer. It was must-see TV when Nebraska and Colorado would play. We've got another rivalry game, the Cyhawk Trophy, which was in our bracket of rivalry trophies. The Cyhawk Trophy is up for grabs.
And decidedly not a good trophy.
No, not a great trophy. No, not a great trophy. But Iowa State play. But that Nebraska and Colorado game this weekend, sign me up. I'm here for it. I love the good traditional rivalries in college football, and these two teams used to be Big 12 foes, were competitive as all get out, and really, really good football was played. Well, we have in Lincoln, Nebraska, Colorado taking a visit. Dion Prime 1-0 again, taking on the Nebraska Cornhuskers, and I think this rivalry might be back.
Oh,
I think it might be back. Nebraska linebacker Makai Bayer, or Gbayor, it's Gbayor, but I think the G silent. Makai Bayer, he did not go from the Coach Speak interview today. He said, hit him hard from this start. Kickoff. I'm going to be running down on kickoff. You'll see me down there. They're going to need two guys to block me. I want them to know that's how we're coming down there. This team is hungry. We put in a lot of work this offseason. We worked our tails off for another team to come here thinking they're going to run through us or it's going to be sweet. Good luck to them. I wish them the best. Give me more. Give me more of Makai Bayer talking about Colorado. This fires me up just wanting this game to start already, because if you're talking about this on kickoff, you think there's going to be some chirping at Shedeur Sanders? You think there's going to be some chirping at Travis Hunter throughout the course of this game? Sign me up. I want it. I want all of it. This is what makes college football great.
did you see the video that came from Georgia Tech's locker room after they beat Florida State?
No.
There was a lot of dancing, a lot of hooting and hollering. There's a video saying the guy cuts away, so I couldn't tell who it was. He goes, "That's number 10 team in the nation. They ass."
Well, he wasn't wrong.
He wasn't
and
wrong.
They're no longer the number 10 team in the nation.
But I bring that up because it was absolutely front and center for Georgia Tech all week leading up to that matchup. That's the number 10 team in the country. They think they're nice. They think they're nice.
Yep.
That you manufacture whatever you need that given week. I mean, down in Eugene, we got the video from the locker room of Dan Lanning going, they play for clicks. Like there's no rivalry between Oregon and Colorado, and there's never been one. But it was gassed to the freaking gills. If you don't think that the old heads of Colorado, Nebraska have been inkling and pushing and fighting and clawing for not only relevance, but for this rivalry to matter again.
Yep.
Oh, there's no doubt. Now, will it trickle all the way down and be as impactful as the heyday of the black shirts in Nebraska? No. But bring me more hatred, bring me more pettiness, bring me more violence. I want it in my football.
And look, Nebraska last year, remember that game was the Colorado and Nebraska game was, we thought that Colorado had figured some stuff out. Prime was back. And then Nebraska went in the next week and 36-14. You remember that game?
Mm-hmm.
Remember how ugly that game was?
Mm-hmm.
It was some of the worst quarterbacking that I have seen in quite some time. When Sims was the quarterback at Nebraska. 9 of 15, 106 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception.
It was chunky.
They played 3 quarterbacks in that game because their offense could not move the ball. Dylan Raiola in that offense,
different dude.
he looked really good week 1. I don't want to overreact over a true freshman coming in week 1 and saying, all right, this is going to be a big difference. But they ran all over Colorado last year. They can run all over Colorado this year.
Mm-hmm.
If they have competent quarterback play, what are we going to see in this matchup? Because Nebraska's defense is going to be pretty dang good.
Look, we talked about this when we had Dave Bartu on a couple weeks ago. If Colorado lost to North Dakota State, they may not win a game. That was his hot take. They barely squeaked out that win. They barely squeaked out a win against North Dakota State. I don't know how you can look at this game. The line right now is 7.5, and that feels like Vegas is giving away money. Like that's what this
That's what they
feels
want you to
like.
think.
Like I don't understand how this is not a 2-score. It says 7.5 is technically a 2-score. I don't understand how this isn't a 2-touchdown game. I genuinely don't.
Yeah.
Like I understand Colorado can score. I do. Shedeur and Travis Hunter are talent-wise the most talented duo. They're on the short list of most talented duo in the country. Is there a wide receiver quarterback pairing in the country that's better?
Not right now, but I think by the end of the year we may have. No, we won't. Never mind. We're good. I think we may have in maybe Texas.
Yeah,
Maybe.
that's where I was going to go, was Texas.
Maybe at Texas.
So
Maybe.
beyond that, so they have that going for them where every given night in a game, those two can create
Yes.
magic. And that's
No doubt.
and that's without getting into Horn Jr. So they've got 3 guys that can break a game. So I get everything that's tied to that. But if you're talking about literally every other phase of the game, I don't know how it's not a landslide in favor of Nebraska. And Nebraska's not that good.
No, they're not. I mean, they boat raced UTEP last weekend. Okay, but I think that North Dakota State would have boat raced UTEP last week too. You know, and if you're asking me, like, I think North Dakota State better program, better players than UTEP, and Colorado had all they could handle, all that they could handle against North Dakota State last week. And that's a scary part about, our assumptions after 1 week is improvement between week 1 and week 2 and what that looks like. I think if you're telling me which team has more room to grow, I still think it's Nebraska because of the fact that you have Dylan Raiola as a true freshman quarterback back there. Their defense was not a problem for them last year. It appears that they have a very good defense again this year. It's going to be – I think this game is going to be close. Something in my gut just tells me it will be close, but I think that you're right. And look, if the stars align, if Raiola is as calm, cool, and collected and has that Mahomesian nature that we saw in flashes last week against UTEP, we could see a rude awakening for Colorado in week 2. They're not going to have to wait till week 4 for that rude awakening to happen. It could happen at 4:30 on Peacock. That's the precursor on old Peacock before Oregon and Boise State. Oregon-Boise State on Peacock, and so is Nebraska-Colorado.
It's on the Peacock, huh?
How about yeah. It's on the old.
Throw it on the cock.
Ruffling the throw it on there. Let's go. We'll see it. But yeah, we get a Peacock game 7:00 down here at Autzen Stadium in Eugene, and then 4:30 a little doubleheader. That's a good doubleheader to have on Peacock. I'm not used to this world yet, where we have to program ourselves to going to streaming services to watch college football, like doubleheaders and stuff like that. But I'm picking up what NBC's putting down. They have a good lineup this year of games. Nice, decent little lineup.
It is interesting how far that
not Texas, Michigan,
service
but-
has come. That's for sure. Because 3 years ago, that place was a ghost town, and now they seem to have gotten it together. I mean, the Olympics, I think, were kind of their the soft launch for how effective the service can be, at least.
They did the Olympics. They did an unreal job.
Yeah, they did.
It was. You could bounce around. You could go to watch. You had the mega cast where you had Scott Hansen from the Red Zone
Gold
doing
Zone.
the Gold Zone there. You had You could go like track and field. If you only wanted to watch track and field, you could hone in on that. You could do the NBC's wide ranging coverage where they'd bounce back and forth. They did a lot of stuff there. That's a tough one to pull off too, and they were able to do it. I'm excited for it. And you mentioned this yesterday when we were in the studio. The picture quality of YouTube TV.
Mm-hmm.
YouTube TV, Apple TV's live events, and then Peacock are probably 1, 2, 3 in their picture quality being far superior to what you get in any other streaming service, or really, I think, in your traditional cable provider.
Yeah, I mean, I swapped my login in here for the YouTube TV as opposed to Hulu in here. It was crazy. We had the same thing on, yet the quality on the one that I had signed
Nuts.
into YouTube was significantly sharper. I was like, oh my God, this is what I've been missing out on?
Look, I'm not too broken up about YouTube not being the tightest picture quality because our ugly mugs are on YouTube
Indeed.
TV or on YouTube. So I'm okay with the picture quality not being as precise. You know,
I mean,
you don't want
look,
to see those
look,
blemishes.
man, radio face is a real thing.
Yeah.
We're married. We're fine. Will's screwed.
Hey, we have great rivalry back of two teams that historically have been really good and competitive, but are the Blue Bloods back in all of college football? Danny Dusty on the Fan.
Oregon Ducks football is on the Fan.
You brought this up that Barstool Beeves tweeted something out. They tweeted out DJ Uyunglele's farewell to Oregon State fans
And they
when
changed
he
it.
entered the portal.
Yeah, and they changed it to leaving Florida State and going to be a used car salesman.
Brutal, dude.
Yeah,
and
Anthony Gould.
they're getting dragged
Yeah.
for that tweet, and rightfully so.
Indeed.
Man.
It's like, come on, man.
Hey, you said Anthony Gould.
Yeah, he quote tweeted with, "This is just clown behavior
Yeah.
or corny behavior."
It is. It is. DJ Uyunglele, his teammates loved him at
Yeah.
Oregon State. And we talked about this prior to the season, right? He's not a guy that will drag you and carry you to victories at the quarterback position. He just isn't. And he went down to Florida State, and they're asking him, and the fan base is expecting something that he didn't show when he was at Clemson. He didn't show it when he's at Oregon State, and they're expecting it to be different now that he's at Florida State. Think about, he had Tony Elliott as offensive coordinator, Jonathan Smith as his offensive coordinator. Mike Norvell is now the offense that they're running down at Florida State. It doesn't matter the coordinator. It's not like he was trapped in a prehistoric offense with a coach that didn't know what he was doing and how to use him. He has his inherent limitations as a quarterback, and the idea that what used to make him so dangerous and special was at any moment he could tuck the ball and run with it, right? And that seems to have been neutered from him.
Which is kind of weird because you're not
I don't
protecting
know.
your body from the NFL.
Well, he's 6'6", 250,
Yeah.
man. He's a load,
Yeah,
and he's athletic.
He's a
as all
massive
get out.
human.
But to post something like that for a guy that came and they had a really damn good season last year. They had a really good year last year. And then the guy leaves in the transfer portal like almost everybody else did. Are you making those tweets right now about Damian Martinez? Are you doing that?
No, I don't think so.
No, you're not. I mean, you should probably be upset. Damian Martinez, who said that he was going to stick around, right? And he wanted to see it through, and then he enters a portal and goes to Miami. Even that, like, this is the age of college football and where you're at right now.
Yeah, how many games
Like-
did the Beavers win last year?
9, right?
Okay.
They 9-win team.
They're going to win that many games this year against lesser competition? Maybe.
Probably be right around there. Maybe, probably not.
Maybe be thankful
know.
for those guys
Yeah.
as opposed to
Yeah.
crapping on them.
Yeah, that sucks. Blue Bloods in college football are back. Think about this. Coming out of week 1 of college football, Georgia obviously is really good. So is Ohio State.
Yup.
So is Texas,
Mm-hmm.
Alabama,
Mm-hmm.
USC,
Mm-hmm.
Notre Dame,
Mm-hmm.
Penn State,
Yup.
Miami.
Yup. Those other Florida schools suck, but Miami.
But the blue blood programs of college football look really damn good right now. And like
I think there's a reason
we
for that.
mentioned those, but then you have Oklahoma. Oklahoma looks really good right now too. Like they are still an insanely high level program and really competitive.
I
It's
think
not
there's a
like we
direct
have
line.
them digging ditches anymore.
No, I think there's a direct line you can draw. What do all those programs have in common?
Money.
It's not about whether or not you can get it out now. It's not about how efficient your bagman is. It's not about, what relationships you necessarily have with what, guys behind the scenes. With all of the barriers torn down, it's back to the big money programs are back in charge. And instead of, a team coming over the top with X amount of Auburn, perfect example. Instead of a team being able to just like, we'll get in the Cam Newton sweepstakes and just go get that one guy that fundamentally changes your program. When everybody is now competing at the top and there is a cream of the crop when you're talking about the money, the institution, the finances, all of the things, the total packages, those universities have always had it. And I think that's the line you can draw.
There's going to be plenty of time for them to fall flat on their faces again.
Sure.
But at the same time, they all seem to be trending in the right direction and on the right track. And I think that I think that what you're saying is 100% correct. I also think that in all of those situations, though, it's not you don't look at any of those programs right now and say they don't have the right coach in place either.
No.
Right? Like we can question Mario Cristobal and his in-game coaching, but one thing that Mario Cristobal has always done a really good job of, he recruits
His butt off.
like the Dickens. And then he always surrounds himself with a staff that is competent. Can he get out of his own way and not bring the offense back to the Stone Ages? Well, that's to be determined. But week one, pretty dang good indicator that he might be getting out of the way of his offense and letting his athletes, especially his quarterback, Cam Ward, operate and be an explosive offense and not try to put you in a phone booth anymore. Like that. It looked pretty apparent when they went down to Florida. We still got a little bit of time. And there's another team that I didn't even mention in there that it looks like they have a right head coach. Their finances are in order. Their NIL is through the roof. Tennessee, man, you mentioned them. They looked really good. You mentioned them yesterday, and they look really stinking good too. And they're 4 teams in that disruptor section of the top 25: Miami, USC, Tennessee, and Oklahoma. Those 4 in a row, and then you add Utah on the top end of that at 11. They are going to be big-time disruptors.
Because you think about the top 12 teams
scene.
in college football, whether or not you put the group of 5 team in there or not, that's that area right there, that 10 through 15 range where that's the Florida State of this year. You got to make a decision on which of those teams is in, like, which one carries it through? Does Oklahoma carry it through? Does Utah, run away with the Big 12 and it's not even a question and they're in the top 10? Like, I think that group of teams, because of what we're talking about here, the Blue Bloods are back. Like, look at the top of college football right now. You look at the actual rankings right now, and who in here is not a Blue Blood in the top 10? Missouri.
Well, Missouri, Oregon, Ole Miss.
That's it.
Are the programs that you'll say not a blue blood, and then if you want to extrapolate that out to like the top 15, you can add Utah into that, and every other program is in. By the way, being a blue blood program, it's a very short list.
Yes,
and there are not very many. I think that might be the list of traditionally dominant programs when you talk Michigan, Miami, USC, Tennessee, Oklahoma, Penn State, Notre Dame, Alabama, Texas, Ohio State, and Georgia. I mean,
that's probably
a
list.
It.
Yeah,
that's your list of blue blood.
Been doing it for 50 years, kind of.
Yeah, 100 years.
100 years in some instances. Yeah, but you know what I mean. Like
no doubt.
It runs decades through, not one run here or run there. It's longevity of greatness.
And I'm telling you, I think it is so fun now that we can have those programs that get propped up. And again, it's only week one. Plenty of time for these programs to screw it all up.
Absolutely, just bite the curb.
But I think that it's really exciting that everybody's fearing the 12-team playoff is that we're entering this season and we've gotten through at least the first benchmark of the season, week one. And you're going, not only do we have the traditional programs that are always propped up at the beginning of the year, but then we also have, Oregon and Ole Miss and Missouri and Utah that are in that mix where people are like, they're scary as hell. There's 15 teams right now in college football where you're like, boy, they're all
don't want to play them.
Pretty fun to watch and at this point, somebody will get left out, and they're going to get all butthurt. But you know what? It's a 12-team playoff.
At this point, it's on you.
Wherever you stub your toe, you can just point at that as your marker and go, yeah, that's why we got.
I'll use a
out.
perfect example. I'll use USC. If USC goes 9-3 and they're not in the playoff, it's their own damn fault.
Yes, bingo. There it is, right there.
Win 10 games.
Because
it's that simple.
You can afford to lose 2 games now and still have your season on track.
Yes.
No doubt.
So it's the simple things in life. All right, coming up on our worst day on the web, we talked about this. We alluded to this the other day in the show, and Chase Bank. It is real life is not Grand Theft Auto. But first, here's Big Bill Butts, the Sports Zone Update.
Now, On Odyssey and 1080 The Fan.
That sucks.
In today's edition of Young People Are Stupid, Will, you can probably
No
corroborate
way.
this one.
I'm middle-aged.
We mentioned this the other day. The Chase Bank
I'm middle-aged. Did he just say
Yes.
I'm middle-aged?
middle-aged moron.
Yeah, in medieval times. Wow, got there. I'm middle-aged. You guys are
Okay.
old.
In medieval times. Yeah.
I just
Don't have to
can't say
worry
anything
about.
I'd be
Don't have to
somebody's
worry about
great
dysentery getting me.
Yeah, I'd be somebody's
You might
great grandfather
need
at
to.
40.
Killed a lot of people in
Good lord.
the Civil War.
The Civil War, not Middle Ages either.
There you go. Totally the same thing.
Depends on your yearbook.
Totally the same thing, right? Okay. For those not aware of how stupid kids are, the Chase Money glitch, not a thing out of Grand Theft Auto where you can up down left right ADBA to get your cash, but instead just your normal check fraud.
What? Okay. What is the Chase glitch?
There was a problem in the banking system with that. It comes down to check kiting, which has been
Okay.
around since the invention of checks. And it's literally what Catch Me If You Can, the movie of Leonardo DiCaprio, a roundabout way telling the story of Frank Abagnale, the first high-level fraud person in the U.S. But basically what this entails is depositing a check for, I don't know, $30,000, then trying to withdraw the cash out of it. Even if you can only withdraw a certain percentage of it, that's called check kiting. It's fraud. And so people are pulling cash out of the Chase ATMs, kiting checks, and then when their bank account is put on hold and the bank is looking for the $30,000 that you don't have, and your account goes to negative $30,000, you can go to jail because you've now just committed fraud, bank
Okay.
fraud, wire fraud.
So people are really this dumb
Yes.
to think that they are pulling one over on the banking system?
Yeah, they got the
To
cash
just
out.
be
They
like,
can't-
you
they-
know what?
It is what it is. It's fairsies.
This is finders keepers. I got this. Mine now. It is beyond me, and I just how many dumb people there are that believe like this was going to be something that they're not going to catch on, especially when I put it on TikTok.
Yeah.
And you know what? They're never going to come after me and my money. Where one, you are knowingly incriminating yourself in confessing to a crime that you were committing when you put this onto TikTok.
Yeah, because
and you
people
say, look,
it's clout chasing. It's a brainworm.
God.
It's truly incredible. And this is
It
the
really
first
makes
time
me wonder about the future, but as you said, this has been going on for
forever. It's just that
decades.
we just see it now. That's the thing
Yeah.
is like people are putting this is just the survival of the fittest, or in this case, survival of the dumbest, and that's putting your crimes on tape. It has never been easier to be a cop than today. They incriminate themselves for you. If you want evidence of a crime, you can just stop at the crime scene, see who's hanging around and filming.
Yeah.
Hey, I need your phone real quick. I need that video. And you've probably got evidence of somebody getting stabbed. Like the Ricky Pearsall case. There's video of the guy shooting him.
But is this like the youngs? Like this is the youngs being dumb, or just everyone is dumb when they're young and we're just catching more of it now, or telling on ourselves?
It's both.
I
It's
think
both.
brazenly dumb criminals have always been out there.
There's just more
but
of them
now. We
No,
have
you
given
catch
them
more
a
now.
platform to show the entire world how brazenly dumb they are.
Mhm. And that's what it comes down to. This isn't the first time we've even had a TikTok-backed financial scams. If you remember during COVID, like when TikTok was starting to take off, it was the PPP loans.
Oh yeah, no. The other one too is
Oh,
the
yeah.
Kia Boys.
The what?
It's Kia Boys.
I
It's really easy. Well, okay, I don't know if I should totally lay it out, but it's not super hard to steal certain Kia cars.
Oh, it's like a Honda Civic. It's the easiest car to
Yeah,
plan
and I
to
don't
steal.
know the year range,
Yeah.
but basically people were posting it on TikTok of how to do it.
Yeah, no,
and
you
then
you
would
can
go
do
and
you
it.
can literally steal a Civic with a screwdriver.
I think you can steal these with like a USB port.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, but yeah, it's again, people are. This is exactly what I'm saying. People are dumb, and it's not even like you need to go to the dark web to figure out how to build a pipe bomb. It's like, no, you don't. Like, that stuff's publicly available. Now, the second you start searching that stuff, you're going to pop up on some databases.
Yep.
Don't get that twisted.
What if you buy a book?
Look, man, the Anarchist Cookbook has been around for a long time. Do you remember that, Dusty?
The Anarchist Cookbook?
Yeah. It was a big deal in
No.
like the 90s. But yeah, that was like,
It sounds familiar. Didn't dabble in it, though.
look, I didn't go down that path. I just remember hearing about it endlessly.
Sure. You did.
But it had like a million different ways to make things that cause bodily harm.
This book
Hey,
has
Will, do you-
instructions for home manufacture of LSD and other counterfeit items.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How to make drugs, how to make explosives, a million different things.
Now,
I'm surprised that
Will-
TikTok hasn't discovered, air quotes. That's the other thing about TikTok. I'm going to go off on a little TikTok rant here.
yeah, go ahead.
This whole freaking generation discovering things as opposed to going, oh, we've already done all of this, is just enraging. Every time, oh my God, I just found out about this band called Nirvana. And it's just like,
Have you guys heard of Oasis?
oh my, that's the newest one.
Dude, they're back.
I want to jump through plate glass.
Liam's funny.
They sucked then.
My wonder wall.
What I liked Oasis. Well, I don't know.
They were that's the first
didn't-
Imagine Dragons.
I didn't hate Oasis. They're not the first Imagine Dragons. Imagine Dragons literally make songs that they're like, what are they gonna just play in stadiums that people are gonna listen to?
Make a
Same
lot of
thing.
money.
I don't think Oasis was doing that. They sniff their farts way too much for that.
When was the last time you went to a sporting event and didn't hear Wonderwall?
Last Saturday.
They didn't play it in the pregame of the Ducks game?
No.
No?
I don't think they play at Moda.
Oh, yeah, they do.
Do they? I don't remember it being played at that or at the Winterhawks game I went to.
Hockey might be hockey might be exempt.
I think you just go to too many Blazer games because the Blazers seem uniquely qualified to be playing Wonderwall.
Well, I'm just saying generally in Oregon because the Whites, they love themselves some Oasis, all right? Look, every time it goes up on like the song selection, like vote for one of these 3 songs, whatever the whitest group is up
Yeah.
there,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
what's getting picked every single time.
Will,
Yeah,
did you have a TI-83 calculator?
I did.
You did?
A scientific one, right?
Yeah, the scientific calculator.
Yeah.
Did you download any games onto that?
No, and I kept getting mad because it didn't let me write boobs upside down.
Okay.
8008.
Because
Yeah, it wasn't that 8 though.
when we were talking about all of this and just like the stupidity, when you said Anarchist Cookbook, all that reminded me of is, remember the game Drug Wars on the TI-83 calculator?
Absolutely.
What?
You could basically
Buddy, we found
you
found
would
uses
program-
for our calculators.
you could program onto your your graphing calculator this game called Drug Wars, where basically you were a drug dealer on as a game during math class. That was something that
That's where we
happened.
learned how to program.
Hold on. On here it says press 1, see prices. Press 2, trench coat. 3, buy. 4, sell. This all popped up on your stupid calculator? It says visit Loan Shark.
Yep. Yeah, and you had to pay him back.
You had
Or
to pay the
die.
Loan Shark back? Did the Loan Shark break your kneecaps? Did Tanya
Yeah.
Harding come out with the Loan Shark?
Yeah, I mean it was a whole thing, dude. It was a whole thing. We didn't have cell phones though. Like our cell phone had Snake. If you had a cell phone, you would play Snake on your
Buddy,
cell
the
phone.
level of greatness that you got to on Snake, you get to like level 37.
Hold on. It says the premise of this game is you are a drug dealer living in the Bronx and you are trying to deal cocaine, heroin, acid, weed, speed, and lewds, and you are against Officer Hardass. They let
Yeah.
you play that in school?
No.
Let
No. It was like I mean, I don't blame you and your era for not having this because like you guys had cell phones and you guys were on
GTA, bro.
Snapchat and yeah,
You guys are
were
playing
like
whole ass
playing
video
actual
games
games.
on your cell phones.
Yeah. But these were the
We had
things
a
that you would have to
phone
do.
that was separate from a calculator.
Yeah.
Think
You didn't
about
have
that
a
for a second.
calculator.
I had a
You
razor. I
didn't-
understand.
Our math teachers used to tell us, well, when you get out in the real world, it's not like you're going to have a calculator like this in your hand all the time. It's like,
They told me
that's wrong.
they told me that too.
They told you that?
They told me that when I had the calculator in my phone.
Yeah,
That's
that's
insane.
ridiculous. That teacher is so off.
I think they're retired.
Did everybody
now.
just laugh when that happened?
No, they just kept saying it, and we kept texting underneath the table.
Yeah, well, you can do anything now. I mean, I vividly remember a math teacher trying to tell me that I'm going to need Pythagorean theorem in real life, and I'll be able to tell the time of the day based on a flagpole and where the shadow is based
A
on
squared,
what I
C
learned in
squared,
that
B
math.
squared.
What I learned in that math class, and I remember at the time going, if I have to use a flagpole to tell the time, I'm screwed anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't need.
You're out in the
I
middle of
don't need
nowhere.
this.
And you know what's really good to tell the timeline or to be able to
I
tell
will
what time
just
it is?
find the closest person
The
and ask them
sun.
what time it is.
Oh,
Yeah.
looks like it's past the halfway point, so it's past noon.
I don't know. Feels. I'm a feel guy.
It's like,
you know.
well,
It
what if
feels
you're in
like
Alaska during the 3-day sunbreak? Well, I'm like, I'm probably tripping balls anyway, so what does it matter? Seriously, if you're going to Alaska during that time period when the sun's either completely down for a couple days or completely up for a couple days, you're tripping, right?
That rocks, dude.
Like you're not going up there for any other reason that it does not include microdosing.
Nighttime baseball.
I mean, fishing, hunting. Yeah. Midnight baseball. Midnight
I've always
baseball.
wanted to do that.
I want to do the glow in the dark baseball.
It's the
That's
perfect
just-
place. Just different times of the year.
I don't think you can go outside when the sun's down from like 18 hours. I feel like it's probably too cold to play any sort of sport outside. You know?
If you're a candy
I'm gonna
ass.
say if you're a coward.
I am. Yes, I hate being
Hmm.
cold. So everything you
God,
guys just said
you would
did
hate
tracks.
This, you would hate this studio right now. It is so crisp in here. I'm
feels
cutting I'm
good.
cutting glass, man. I love it.
It's
It feels
cold.
great.
I got a sweatshirt on, dude.
It's just so nice. Like the hair on my legs is standing up. It's perfect.
Gross.
Complete pivot here. Talking about idiots who are stealing money and
Oh.
getting caught.
Yeah.
How about a NFL executive getting caught doing something very, very stupid and getting suspended for it? We'll get to that and more coming up here on Danny and Dusty, Timmy the Fan.
It's the Fan on Demand.
They're kind of fun to play with, aren't they?
It sounds like Daddy and Dusty, which maybe you need Daddy here because somebody needs to set the Commanders right because new ownership has not solved all their problems as a crazy, and I use this very specifically, unhinged story has come out about the Commanders' vice president, I believe, of media. Oh, no, I'm sorry, of content. Rael Entine. He's been with the organization for 4 years, and he got hit with an undercover sting by the O'Keefe Media Group, and that's, I believe, James O'Keefe. His media group, he does the investigative reporting by infiltrating organizations. It's been mostly politically, I think, over the years, but he's exposed some absolutely horrid human beings with some of the stuff behind the scenes and got people to say what they won't say publicly. Entine has been suspended for four weeks, I believe.
Yeah, bet he's going to be fired.
Yeah, I would imagine that they're doing that for just long enough so they can fire him, because this is what ends up happening. They were secretly videotaping him, and what they honeypotted him. They used a undercover female reporter that went out on a couple dates with him, and in the video, he said, over 50% of our roster is white, religious, and God, and says, F the gays. Their interpretation, I don't buy any of that. Another big chunk is low-income African Americans that come from a community that is inherently very homophobic.
Okay.
He went on to say some players are dumb as hell, and those who are smart don't stay that way after getting hit in the head too many times. He said those who get their heads knocked around a few times are more susceptible to conspiracy theories. Takes it a step further.
You know how, like, when you have players and they're going into negotiations and they say they don't care about us. Players, the NFL doesn't care about its players. They don't give a rip about our long-term health. All they want is for us to go out, put our bodies on the line, and collect checks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're all seeming very correct on all fronts with these comments.
Oh, yeah. No, it gets worse. Entine also said, I don't think the commissioner of the NFL hates gay people or hates black people. Jerry Jones, who really runs the NFL, I think he hates gay people and black people.
Oh, so Roger Goodell doesn't hate gay people or black people, but Jerry Jones does, huh?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Wow. This guy was on a roll, huh?
He's not done.
He's feeling it.
Oh, you could tell she gave him a couple Shirley Temples, and he was willing to spill the beans here. The social justice initiatives of the NFL are performative. It's not done out of the goodness of their heart. It's done because of George Floyd changed the game. It's to make as much money as possible. It cares about the bottom line, like any corporation, above all else. Said the league makes so much money they can faux prioritize DEI for the sake of good publicity. Which, yeah.
Yep.
If you buy into either on the right that the NFL really cares about the troops, they don't. Or if they really care about inclusivity and DEI and pink ribbons and any of that crap, no, they don't. They don't care about any of it.
They're not giving out the camouflage team apparel or the pink breast cancer awareness team apparel or the end racism T-shirts. They're selling them all.
Yes, not only that, the media media rights that they're getting from cancer research and from the military. The inordinate amount of money our tax dollars goes to paying for advertising for the military would put your jaw on the floor. It is so dumb. This is coming from a guy who's as pro-military as it gets, and it's insane. But wait, this guy wasn't done.
But wait, there's more. Is Ron Popeil doing this interview with this guy? We got Billy Mays.
Most of the fans are high school educated alcoholics, and he called them mouth breathers.
All right.
Oh, he's not done.
All right. No, this guy, don't be done. Let the chef cook here. This guy, he's going to rethink going on the Hinge dating app ever again.
And you and I have talked about this so many times because we know this to be true. He also told the reporter that his job is to sell hope. Because remember, he worked in content, which is social media and everything else along those lines.
Hopium, baby.
3 years ago, there were videos of pipes leaking. Fans said it smelled like sewage leakage, but Entine said he tweeted out that it was just the water. That, he said, is state-run media. Meaning, yeah, it was crap water all over the place, but we just said, la, 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 la.
Yeah, let's go ahead and say he deserved to work for Daniel Snyder. He deserved like that.
Unbelievable.
That is a perfect pairing for a guy who would work with Daniel Snyder. And he used to work for the Jets.
Yes, he
and
worked for the Jets
now,
before this.
and then he was like, you know what? I'm gonna go work for the Commanders. And he worked for Daniel Snyder, and Josh Harris, the new owner of the Commanders, kept him on. And not anymore. This 4-game suspension's just enough to get the paperwork filed, and then he's going to be fired.
Brother, this was date number
Holy
2.
smokes.
What does this look like after 2 months of dating? I wish they would have kept this one going.
Kind of probably know why he's single. He likes to air the dirty laundry.
But I mean, the things. Look, if you got this in 2 dates, that he was this comfortable saying this 2 dates in.
Yeah, man.
Oh man.
Yikes.
You got 60 days worth of this. You might have gotten the password to like one of the, executives' email accounts.
Is that the worst first date ever? Meeting that guy? Is going out on a date with that guy the worst
No, it's
first
got
date
no,
ever?
no. God, no. That's
no.
interesting. Like, don't get me wrong. He's spilling the beans because he's like, look at me, I'm Mr. Executive.
Yeah, this guy was trying to get.
He was trying to
This guy
impress.
was trying to get laid.
Yeah,
for
no,
sure.
Let
Like
me
that's
tell
why
you
he
all of
said
the things
this.
that like you don't know about the real world behind the scenes.
That doesn't work with
Yeah.
1080 the fan, guys.
No.
I've tried. I can't spill any beans on you guys. None of the ladies care.
No. As I said, Dusty and I are married. It doesn't matter anymore. You're screwed.
That's right.
But this dude, had you given him time, the dirt that Gruden's emails would look like exchanges between middle schoolers compared to what this guy would have given you. I'm surprised
He would have given you all the dirt. And you imagine that this is the Commanders. Like, he has sparked my interest on what's buried in the backyard of the Dallas Cowboys. That is something that I'm going, we want to know how the sausage is made. I don't know if we totally want to know how the Dallas Cowboys operate, if this is how he's talking about them. Now, it should be noted, with everything he said about Jerry, Daniel Snyder and Jerry Jones, by all the reporting that was out there, tolerated Daniel Snyder and did not like him, despised him like every other owner did. So there's probably a lot of information that he got that about old Jera boy that was definitely slanted one way. 100%.
It's just, wow. This dude just, he went for it in a way that, what were you, I guess what you're trying to accomplish here was getting laid. That's the only thing that makes sense. Date number 2.
Yeah. That's aggressive. Will, you asked about the worst first dates, and so this story popped up, and I remember reading it a while ago, and I bet you're going to have a different reaction than Elise had to this one.
Hit me.
But I remember reading this and going, okay, yeah, this sounds like a pretty awful date if you're on the other side of it. A guy took me to a McDonald's, ate 5 hamburgers one after another, looked on his phone, asked me if I was horny and wanted to go back to his apartment so that, quote, I can do you. I politely declined and left. I've never been as disappointed in someone as on that date.
That guy rocks.
Yeah, I figured that would be your response. But that is when you talk about a bad first date, I believe that is one
That's not
that
a good
would
one.
stick out.
That's not
not a
one
good
I'm going to
one.
put in my back pocket and try for later.
That's not a good one, man. But this is date number 2 where he was angling. He was angling for more than just a nice evening out with this gal. He was trying to impress her, and I bet you that's how he tries to save his job. Is that, hey, I just was making stuff up to try to impress her. That's not going to work because you just found your way out of the NFL entirely.
Rael
As a
has
job.
since made his social media accounts private.
No way. Well, you can apparently find him on Hinge.
You think so? You think he's still there?
That's where they met. I doubt it. No, he's probably moved on to Bumble.
Little Plenty of Fish.
Yeah.
Who's on Plenty of
Tinder.
Fish nowadays?
That's where you go to scrape the barrel, right?
Oh, dude,
Are
that's
you on
been
dating
dead.
apps? Ortner?
Never been.
You've never been on a dating app?
dating app?
Not that I had control over. No,
What do you mean by that?
Why not?
someone else made a thing for me.
Isn't that how you guys date now?
That's how some people do. I choose not to.
Wait, somebody made it for you.
Yeah, in college, as like part of our bit on our show was like on Fridays, my buddy would find a girl, and then we'd go on a date on the show. We never found
lucky
love.
her.
Oh,
We never
wow!
found love.
We now have a new contender for worst first dates.
Yeah,
is
I was
Will
I
Ortner
was so nice
dating a
on
girl,
them. I was
dating
so
a
wanna
girl
come to my
on
show?
the radio show.
It was a blind date situation.
Yeah, and it was on your college radio station show, huh?
Orton the Bear.
I mean, this is a good bit. This is a good bit. Horrible first date, though. No wonder you never found true love.
Not with them, anyways.
Not with them. Oh, has Will Ortner found love?
Still looking.
Is this breaking news?
No, still looking. Pondering.
Oh, okay. All right.
Searching high and low.
All right. Okay. Well.
Unbelievable.
That means short and tall.
Okay. Well, coming up here in hour number 3, there's plenty of pretenders. How many actual contenders are there for the Lombardi Trophy? We'll get to that and more here on Danny and Dusty, Danny the Fan.
I'm Michael Jenkins, helping
Wednesday afternoon, whether you're listening on 1080 AM, watching along on youtube.com/1080 AM The Fan or twitch.tv/1080 AM The Fan. We appreciate you. We love you. Thank you for hanging out on this wonderful Wednesday as the weather is not sucking again.
No, it's hot.
quite-
Furnace is up.
It's quite
Furnace is up.
Quite nice. We're back on for tubes this weekend, so we're going to go float the
Oh,
river.
hey.
See? You know what?
All right.
I might have buried the lead here.
Okay.
So I had to scramble to get tubes because we weren't going to go, and then my wife tried to go, well, maybe we should just really try. So I had to go like find tubes as quickly as possible for the potential trip. And this limited how quickly I could get them, right?
Right.
So, and I didn't want to get the crappy ones. I don't want one that's going to hit like one rock and go, and so I got like a nice one.
Yeah.
The problem was, I'm a large lad, and so you have to make sure you get the big one, and
Okay.
that's that narrow again. It has to be ready available. It has to be one of the tougher ones, and it has to be one of the bigger ones. Because I looked at a lot of them, they're only rated to like 200 pounds. Like most
Okay.
tubes are only like, and I'm like, even if I was skinny, I'd still be over that. That sucks. But again, it made it harder. So I ended up getting these two, like basically like leather wrapped, like it's super, super thick. What is it? It's actually made out of PVC. It's like a thick moldable plastic, but it's not solid.
Okay.
But they're giant turtles,
That's fine.
right?
That's fine.
They're-
You're floating down a river. This is why I always just go
Like
to
it has a turtle
you
head.
find a tire store and you get like a tractor tire insert. That's what, or a large tire insert. Tractor ones are
Those ones,
extremely large.
they pop,
But
though,
you
and they don't have a bottom.
those are fantastic. And what do you need a bottom for?
So you don't.
All the
ba- so
bottom
you
is going to do is just rip.
don't bang your butt.
You think that thin piece of fabric is going to protect you from anything?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No. The rock is just going to push that up and hit you.
That's
all it does.
It saves you, and also
It does nothing.
you can-
It does nothing,
and
Danny.
you sit a
It
little-
does
you
nothing
sit-
except
you
for
sit-
cost you more money.
You sit a little bit higher in it. It's more comfortable.
No. That's why you get the big inflatable ones. It puts you way further up off the water. It's the way to go. It is the tire insert, the inflatable inner tube of a tire.
Look, man, I went
That's the
bougie.
way to
I
go.
went with,
And it's
like,
got to be a bigger tire. It can't be just like a small car tire. It's got to be a big one.
I'll
It's got to
go
be
there.
a big one.
But the one that we
Done
got,
a lot of floats.
it has a turtle, but it also has like interconnecting like links, so you can like link the tubes together.
Yeah. The only thing you got to worry about in the tire one that I'm talking about is the valve. It's got to
Oh,
be
if it's
valve
facing the wrong, yeah.
down.
Oh, you face
Yeah,
that thing the wrong
yeah.
way. You
Yeah.
that's a hell of a goose. But you see the other one, the turtle comes with an ice chest.
Okay. Well,
See?
see, now the turtle sounds a lot better. It
It's
sounds a lot better.
it's very nice. I don't even want to tell you how much I paid for these things.
See, that's why you got to go to the tire store.
It was-
They're also affordable.
It was very, very, very difficult to justify spending that much money on something I'm going to use twice
100.
a piece.
You paid over $100 a
200?
piece.
It's like $89.99 a piece.
Oh my gosh, $180.
But Dusty, it's a turtle.
It's a turtle. It's got a big giant turtle head.
Got a cooler on
It's got a cooler in
it. It's got a cooler.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's a bridge too far for my cheap butt.
And listen, you know me. I am wildly cheap, and it hurt. But it was my wife's birthday, and so that's where we are.
All right, well,
Turtles.
you got to do what you got to do, I guess.
No,
I guess if she wants the highfalutin floaties, you got to do that.
there was a
man.
host of different animals, but none of them were big enough for my big butt. So went with the turtle. All right, let's keep this thing on track, and when we come back, we'll talk Super Bowl contenders here on Danny and Dusty, 1080 The Fan.
Hello, sports fans, and welcome to
Prime Time with Isaac.
And the contenders versus pretenders, it seems to have a pretty hard line according to Las Vegas. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 teams. 8 teams with odds that are plus 1,600 or better to win the Super Bowl.
Okay.
Your 1,000 or better odds are the Chiefs at plus 500, the Niners at plus 600, the Ravens at plus 1,000. Of those 8 teams, are you buying that those are all contenders? That's the Chiefs, Niners, Ravens, Eagles, Lions, Bengals, Bills, Texans, and Packers. Are all 8 of those teams contenders?
Yeah, but I think there's varying levels of contender, right? I think the teams that are legitimate entering week 1 bona fides are Kansas City, San Francisco, Detroit, Baltimore, and Cincinnati, right? Because you have star power, you have got veteran-laden teams who have gotten close and gotten to that cusp but can't get over that hump. I think I think the next tier down is where you would put like Philly, Houston, and Green Bay in that next tier down where you're going, I've got questions, right? With Philly, it is how much is the absence of Jason Kelce and Fletcher Cox, the infighting that's being reported between Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni, how deep does that really go? With Houston, it is, are we going to see a sophomore slump? Was the addition of Stephon Diggs enough to kind of get them over the hump? And is inherently a better division that they're going to be playing in something that will, just by injury alone, with Anthony Richardson being healthy, Trevor Lawrence being healthy, is that division going to be tougher? Because it wasn't like they were an 11-win team a year ago, 12, 13-win team. Will we see a regression from C.J. Stroud? I don't really expect it because they bolstered that receiver room. But, I've got questions that I want to see. And then Green Bay, you're in a really damn tough division now. The NFC North is no cupcake division.
It's probably the second best division in football now.
And you got to go through Detroit, so you're going to be a wild card. That's going to be a tougher road to battle through in the playoffs. The war of attrition, and if you're a wild card team, are you going to be on the road for the entirety? And it takes away, the magic that Lambeau Field gives you in December and January, right? So I have my questions there, but I think in all of the teams that you named, yeah, I think that they are contenders, but varying degrees of contenders, where some have holes, others do not.
The next group, the plus 2,000 to plus 3,000 odds, Cowboys, Jets, Dolphins, Rams, Falcons. Are you buying that tier is all together? Because that is one of the more scattered.
Cowboys, Jets, Rams,
Dolphins, Falcons.
Okay.
Like that tier seems, and the Cowboys are the next one in that group. They're plus 2,000. The Packers are plus 1,600.
Burn your money.
I feel like that's just because it's like the Lakers. The market's just set up like, oh, idiots are going to bet on this.
Yes.
That's what this
100%.
feels like, right?
100%.
Because otherwise, what the hell is happening here?
The Falcons. Think about the Falcons and their path. That path, and you can rack up wins if things do click with Kirk Cousins and you are able to distribute the ball to the wealth of playmakers that they have acquired over, the last few years, with whether it was due to play calling or quarterback play, your offense was stagnant. Their path, that does make sense of like, I don't know, wouldn't be the craziest thing in the world. But you have a quarterback that you can't trust in primetime games or big moments, right? And Kirk Cousins. The Jets are really interesting in that group because I don't know what to expect from Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
It does not sound like Aaron Rodgers is the same Aaron Rodgers. You have the reports coming out that he's a bad teammate and he hasn't bought into what they're doing.
Which is the complete look, Aaron's got plenty of crazy, but you have teammates that would die from him in Green Bay.
Yeah, but it's a kind of a different it's a different tenor coming out of
Yeah,
New York.
That's what I mean. It's
right
a
now,
very
yeah.
stark like say what you want about Aaron and whether or not he's weird and infighting with Gutekunst and everything that was going on in Green Bay. He had teammates that would ride and die for him.
Yes, absolutely. I think the weird one in there is the Rams. A lot of people are really high on the Rams, and I get it. Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay, that's a match made in heaven on the offensive side of the ball. Are we just going to ignore that the most dominant defensive player, arguably in the history of the game, is no longer on their team?
No.
I mean, acknowledge that part of Aaron Donald not
Yeah.
being there?
Nah, it's totally fine.
Is that